Hi everyone and welcome back to another week's video. This week John shows you how he restored a gas burner he found. We've decided to place it on the lower terrace here because it's going to be close to the barbecue area and it's a good location for us, and also it looks pretty cool. For anyone who knows John, they'll know that he's deeply passionate about restoration and upcycling. And even though sometimes we give him a hard time about it, he always seems to work his magic and make it look awesome, just like in the picture here. Then he moves on and he shows you how he likes to cook, because that's another one of his passions. And he's cooking here on the fire pit, which is actually really cool. And finally, he shows you how beautiful the fire pit looks in the dusk of the evening, and there will be many a good night sitting around there with a glass of wine and some good friends and family for company.
In our last video we showed you some of the strawberries that we had planted and showed you how some of them were flowering beautifully, bursting, ready to fruit.
Well, that didn't take very long. Years ago when we lived in Ireland we used to grow strawberries, and it was always a thing in our house as to who was going to get the first strawberry. I'm getting this one.
I was driving along the road one day and I discovered this just left on the side of the road where somebody had given up using it, I guess. And I think for good reason, because the legs and everything that's on it were bent, and the burners that are there, as you can probably see, they're not quite functioning properly. So it's cast iron, so the cast that was inside of it has clogged it a little bit and stopping the gas from coming through. But the controllers and everything, I've checked it, they are all good. I decided that I was going to hold on to it, clean it up and use it for a special purpose. So the cast iron holes, or the holes in the cast iron, they needed to be cleaned out really. There's 7 of them in each little row that is there, so I thought that I would try cleaning out some of the ones that were more of a problem first and just see how that would fare out really. So this little piece of iron or metal that I've got, I thought it was a good thing to use. It turned out very, very well, and I decided to keep it for that purpose. Also, once I had them cleaned out a little bit, I wanted to check it as I was going along to make sure that the work that I was doing was okay. At this stage then I could see that there was more gas getting through some of the ones that I had cleaned out, and then the ones closer to the back there, which they are still not quite right. So I decided that I was going to actually use that little bit of iron that I had to clean them all out. It was also a very important thing for me to check to make sure that none of it was leaking gas, or that there was no problems with any kind of a crack or anything in it. I had checked it out as best I could visually, but this was a far better test. If there was any gas coming out of there, it would have ignited. Now I also smelt around this before I did that to make sure that there was no gas coming out that I could smell, but it turned out to be okay. Everything was safe and everything was good to go. This is the little piece of iron that I'm using to clean it out. It's doing the job perfectly, so I'm really happy with it. It's just a piece of an old mousetrap. There was never a mouse caught in it, guys, so it wasn't really a problem. There is a screw here which holds the part of the gas burner onto the frame. There's also 2 of them at the back, but they're very, very, very tight in there, and I don't want to heat this and take them out because I don't think it's altogether necessary. So I'm going to cut it across here with the angle grinder. And this section here is new. This is a new head for the gas bottle, a new pipe system, which is a gas pipe, and 2 new clamps. This is it actually when I cut the back off of this. So this is basically all that I wanted from the entire unit. This section here has a screw in it. So when I took the screw out, I sort of thought to make it safer, I was going to check it to make sure that it wasn't leaking gas when the screw was out. So I turned the gas back on, and as you can see, the gas is working much better now. And I just checked that little hole to see that there was no gas coming out of it. I thought there was for a second, but I double checked it, and there was no gas coming through. So the screw is actually in very good shape. So I thought to myself that I would put that screw back into it. So here is everything that I need to bring over to the site, which is the cast iron burner and the little cleaner. Also, you can see there the hose and the clippings. And I'm going to keep this for future use with another project that I have in mind. Now that we're on site, I want to show you the location or the place where I have it marked out basically to do this. I had wanted a fire pit here, but I just hadn't got around to making the specific type of a one that we wanted. But here you can see it's right at the end of the gazebo. Nice place from the point of view of the view and everything. The gravel is down there to make it nice and safe, and I think it's the perfect spot for it. At the back of the aloe vera, I'm going to dig out, because the terrain is a sort of going down there at a bit of a slope. So I'm going to dig it out, and I'm going to kind of hide or put the gas cylinder down there so that it won't be seen and it'll be safe. And this is a view from coming down the steps from the upper terrace. If you're coming down the steps towards the gazebo, the fire pit will be on the right hand side. So tools out, location picked, we're ready to go. The first thing to do was to remove the growth from the side and to remove the stones. This here is an old piece of cactus, and I'm going to use that to actually cover the cylinder of gas just to keep it out of sight. I find this system that I've used with the cloth as a weed barrier and to put the stones on very, very versatile. It's so handy to be able to take away the stones. If you need to take away weeds, you can do that, or cut the cloth for purposes like this. I cut a hole in the weed barrier. You can see from this angle the 2 screws that I decided to leave into the gas burner the time that I cut it with the angle grinder. I've dug out the clay for where the burner is going to go and where the pipe is going to go down to the gas cylinder. I've also dug out the hole for the gas cylinder itself. It'll keep it nice and cool there as well. Now I'm going to prepare some safety features for the actual gas thing itself. I'm going to fill it with gravel and with stone. I just think this is better than concrete, and it's certainly better than just leaving the clay there, because I don't think the clay would be a good idea at all. I'm going to put the gas line into this piece of pipe. It's an extremely good piece of pipe. It's flexible and it's very strong, and I've glued that end onto it, and I will put that end down where the cylinder of gas is. I'll put it at a slope so that if there is any moisture or humidity that gets in there, it will just make its way down the pipe and come out where the gas tank is. So here you can see I have the right level for the gas burner to come through the little pebble stones. I've also put larger rocks to the back because I want to protect the gas burner from the wind as best I can, and to make it look like a fire pit. And now it's time to test it. we can control the flow of gas going through. It can be a small amount or a larger amount. In time, I am going to connect this system to the biogas from the digester that we had featured in last week's video. I'm going to add a small amount of black lava rock to it. It'll look like charcoal, or it'll look like coal. It will keep everything nice and neat there and will look more like a fire. There you can see the black lava rock, and now I'm going to do some cooking on it. Just something small, an egg and some toast. I'm going to make a small steel frame that will make this much more stable, much safer. With it being the first cook, it's a learning curve really, as is with a lot of things. So I'll make it that we'll be able to cook on it and take it out when we just want to use this area as a fire pit. I'll make the frame that it will take small items like a coffee pot, a saucepan or a frying pan, and then when we're using it we just put it in there, and when we're finished I'll have it that when it cools down, of course, we can take it out and use the area just as a fire pit. I put the piece of bun in there just to pick up the oils, the olive oil and everything that was in there, and whatever flavours are there. And I guess, like everybody, how do you want your toast done? I have a certain way that I like it, as I guess you all have, and it's a nice golden brown for me. Once it's got to that stage, then it's just a matter of putting on some mayonnaise, some lettuce, and pop that lovely first egg on top there and eat it and enjoy.